Y'all, today I have the distinct pleasure in welcoming Charlie Keiser to our podcast. Charlie has seen a lot when it comes to Texas real estate and is celebrating over 50 years in the industry. I am very thankful to call him a friend. And if you don't know Charlie, he started selling lots in Horseshoe Bay and then got his real estate license back in 1971. So, welcome, Charlie. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Back then, it was a lot easier to get a real estate license than it is today.
A little bit easier to get a real estate license. So you
I
got
think
your real
so.
estate license in 1971,
71,
and I think you said that you had been selling some residential lots back, I guess, in Horseshoe Bay.
Horseshoe Bay primarily.
And what led you into jumping into the world of real estate?
Well, I wanted to get out of what I call the automotive aftermarket. I worked for
Okay.
Mexico, heavy service station dealers, and 10% of our time selling, 90% collecting.
Oh,
It was
wow.
not fun. I wanted to get into something that you wouldn't have to spend all your time collecting.
Yeah, I can see that. So you jumped into real estate and started with a resort developer in Horseshoe Bay.
Right then, it was brand new in 71, 70, 71.
And you and your wife, I guess, did y'all move to Horseshoe Bay back then?
We just moved to Horseshoe Bay after about a year. Was fortunate enough to sell a builder a bunch of lots and about one of his houses. So then we were able to move from San Antonio right up to Horseshoe Bay.
Right up to Horseshoe Bay. And then I guess it was what, 1976, you purchased a franchise with Century 21 and opened Kaiser and Company?
Since 21 guys in the company, resort, nice resort communities had gone through a lot of management changes and so forth. And it was just looking like if I wanted to stay in the area, I better, you know, find a way to stay there.
Right.
And I tried to get over with local real estate firms, and they didn't have a training program. So I started looking at franchises as a way of learning how to run an office, how to sell a house, that kind of way.
Right.
All they were done was sell lots. And it found that Red Carpet had sold 500 franchises, and 621 had sold 1,000 franchises. That 2-year period since franchising began. And it was like, elected since 21 because that many more people across the United States accepted that program. I became since 21 broker, called up and bought the franchise over both.
So you opened your office you bought the franchise in 76, opened your office in 77.
May of
And
77.
so was that the first real estate brokerage you were with?
Yes.
Wow. That's kind of amazing. That's what you don't see at all today is you've been with the same franchise, so you're
That's
still
correct.
Century 21, but you don't see that where somebody stays with the same franchise or same brand for an extended period of time.
I couldn't find a decent alternative, so I just stayed.
That's pretty awesome. That's something that I think is just absolutely amazing. So you started in 71, you opened the brokerage in 72, and you needed train didn't have already a education system in place. Did they start demanding hours at any point in time in the 70s, or was it later?
I guess it was late, a little bit later, 3 or 4 years later, I guess.
3 or
And
4?
somebody decided, I guess at the truck level, that, with people with licenses actually needed to have some continuing education.
Right?
And he kind of made it mandatory to brokers. And then there was a rebellion in West Texas of farm and ranch brokers out there. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Right?
So the compromise was if they were more than 60 miles away from a place giving classes and had been in the for 10 years, you pay $7 and be exempted from continuing education. So I sent my $7 in, and I've been exempt since.
Still get
So he brought in this new stuff like work responsibility, which I've had the privilege in your class to see that part.
I was gonna say, you still take education, what are you talking about? But it is
Well,
neat that there was an exemption done so that, you didn't have to, but it's crazy to think about all the last 50
so many
years.
things have changed probably since I first got into crazy business. It was back then, it was buyer beware, one-page contracts.
Right,
And since then, the one-page contract has expanded into 33 pages plus there's all this other kind of stuff. It has gone from fairness to all parties to adversarial relationship. Well, all the ways that you're supposed to get out of a contract rather than get in one.
right.
It's away from fairness. It's reasonable extra representation of the side as opposed to trying to be fair to everybody.
Yeah. So you did take my broker responsibility class, and you talked about a code that you lived by well before there was ever a policies and procedures manual. And it was just the way you did business, it was the way you act. Remember
Yeah,
what
it
you
was
told me?
the basics were do right and always tell the truth. Unfortunately, that was replaced. That was my policy and procedure manual for years. It was
Yeah,
replaced by a 71 page manual that I had to pay a lot of money for. Then go through it, ended the whole thing related to 621 Keiser. It was kind of a sad day when fairness was replaced by that.
and I love it to do right and always tell the truth, and, we still have people out there who can't even follow that today.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah. So, okay, I have a crazy off the cuff question. Do you remember what your first computer was in real estate
I'm
that you
afraid
did?
I could.
You what?
I had a Radio Shack, TRS 80 Model 3.
Model 3 TRS
Well, we
80.
had
Wow.
8-inch floppies. One
Right?
program with the data was on the other one. It switched back and forth. Very strong, 48K.
48K. Oh, how do you even remember that?
It was just kind of fun, getting in the computer and learning how to work the thing and how to program within it.
Right?
Bought a program from Jim Buttonware, a flat file database.
Uh-huh.
Learned how to program in this flat file database. Ended up doing programs for the theater and as well as the property management. Pull
So
the
you
team
had
on.
property management as well?
Well, that was the program that we bought with the TRS 80 Model 3. We managed storage buildings, so we had to have a way of pulling collections and so forth in the building.
R-
And then really happy day was, a year and a half later, we got our first IBM XT.
Okay. I think I had one of those, and then I think they came out with an IBM AT or
The
something,
XT
and
was next, and that made a big difference.
yeah, when it had those I think our first ooh, this is gonna I think our first one had like a 40 gigabyte or a 40 megabyte hard drive, and you just thought you were just as fancy as anything way back
The,
then.
the XT, I think, had a 10, and then the AT had a 30.
Was it a 30?
I think.
Wow.
Took it.
Who can remember that is right. So, what would you say is like one of the most significant changes? I mean, there has been a lot of changes in the real estate industry and especially the last 50 years, but what would one significant change be that you
Kind of touched on that a minute ago. It's the shift from buyer beware to
Yeah,
disclosure and so forth. Everybody was happy when we worked for the seller,
right.
and the buyer knew where they stood, and everybody treated the buyer with fairness or tried to. And we didn't have all this over representation.
And making sure everything. I mean, it was what when you mentioned representation, I think it was even just 1993 or something. they changed dual agency to intermediary, so they're constantly changing stuff to kinda make sure that everybody is protected as much as they can be.
It's an
So
overprotection kind of thing, causes the agents to be one-sided and not really think about the fairness of getting folks together, to really get an advantage for their side. And that has caused more problems than trying to be fair.
yeah, it has, and some of the states that I teach in, they are more of a transaction broker so that they don't really, represent either side. They just work with both of them to get the transaction done, and it almost seems in some way like it has some significant benefits. So I can understand that. In your opinion, what characteristics or skills do you think is successful for someone getting into real estate? Because you've seen a lot, you probably can call bullshit on a lot very quickly and very easily.
Robbie, I think you got to develop the listen and ask questions rather than talk. There's way too many of these presentation, learn the listing presentation or learning the buyer presentation. And it becomes aiming to do a spiel, a one-sided spiel rather than create a situation where you're drawing out from the customer what their needs are, what their wants are.
Right.
And did you say something about what career?
If someone's starting a career on there and, we're talking about even some of the skills because, you were just touching on, how we learn those scripts and dialogues and we don't, I guess I not, it's not my favorite word is pivot, but we sit there and we don't pay attention to what someone is saying back to us. And, I remember getting those listing presentations and those buyer presentations and, it's just literally bullet points of what you're saying, and you bring up a very valid point because people don't listen. And, that does make sense, but, advice in starting a career in real estate today
Number
is
one thing would be treat it as a real job.
treat it like a real job.
You know, plan your work your plan, wake up, get up, have breakfast, make your bed, and go to work.
Make your bed. Charlie, are you telling me I have to make my bed?
That's what the past president of YouTube said.
Oh, gotcha. Sometimes I just don't want to, but no, that makes sense. So it's showing up and being there and not only just showing up, but it's I think what I'm hearing you say is consistency and do it every day. You're saying treat it like a job. Well, it is a job, and I guess some people slide into real estate or think they're going to make millions of dollars at it and just not have to do any work.
We see so many agents today waiting until 10:30, 11 o'clock and see if they've got a phone call. They just don't really, they wasted you a third to half a day before they ever got started.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, the agents really need to understand what the objections are, the common objections to making a decision, and learn how to overcome them as part of their uh, conversation with the customer. Because when it's all said and done, their job is to be able to get to a position where customer can make a decision and go ahead, or understand that they can't right away. In which case, the agent becomes a tour guide, and there's no sense in really showing property. A person with a mindset or unable to go forward.
It seems like the younger generations want an email or text everything, and they don't wanna have those one-on-one conversations with their clients or anybody because 'cause they're just stay behind that shield, it seems like, and it's
Main
hard to build that
thing
rapport.
they is get out and look at property. I think every agent ought to look at least 100 homes before they even consider themselves proficient in doing a CMA.
Right?
Actually go in them, preview them, and know them,
Learning that inventory.
learning the inventory and staying on top of the inventory. That way, the competitors don't. They rely on MLS and YouTube and that kind of thing, and you just don't have a real feeling for what's out there. And the relationships of value and desirability, neighborhoods, and so forth become much more real when you're actually out there looking at the property.
I tell agents that really, some of the pictures and everything on the MLS are designed to or should be designed to get someone in the home so they can make that decision. And, we don't put every single picture of every corner or anything, and it's very hard to really get a good feel for the condition of the property and, even the style of construction. Is it sturdy? Is it not? Is it been well put together? It's hard. And, those building those relationships are important. I can't remember the year. I think it was like 2005, 2006 when I met you originally, and
It has been a while.
it has been a while. We were both on a mortgage association board, and, you've had both sides of the real estate world, both lending and, real estate at I think you
I
have both
told you that.
companies still.
Well, we could not get answers from mortgage people with uh, contracts getting ready to close and so forth. And I had customer moving down from New Jersey. They were on the U-Haul truck. A week a, a week ahead, we were supposed to close the following Friday. Couldn't get any information out of the mortgage folks. And it finally got through to the supervisor. Oh, he's took his son fishing, and we don't know anything about that file. So that was the day that I decided I would go home with my whole mortgage company so we could find out what's going on, the stages of the mortgage. So we did. I've been a mortgage broker since 2004.
Since
Unfortunately, I'm going to turn the whole thing over to my daughter, Kathy.
Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, I got out in, like, 10 or 11, I don't remember when it was, but I was like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm going back to real estate because I was only writing and doing one industry. I wasn't doing both. I Hats off to you for being able to handle both because it's a lot, I'll tell you that. It's been I know with all the changes in the mortgage world, even in the last 10 to 15 years, they've affected real estate a lot. But what might be one lesson that you have learned that consistently influences you even today? Something you've learned anytime over the past?
Follow up, and consistently communicate with your customer. And
I think I learned that.
embrace, embrace technology to do that.
Embrace technology to follow up, follow up, follow up. And Charlie, I think I learned that from you back in the early 2000s. And I think you and I had a conversation because I tell people that exact same thing. And I know it came from someone, and I'm pretty darn sure it came from you in a luncheon at one of those things.
Don't give me too much credit.
No, I'm
You know, a
serious.
lot of nice people do that, and they're really smart to have the technology with good relationship management system in place. They can do an awful lot of the work for you.
Do you think technology has helped in real estate, or do you think it's hindered?
Well, I think it's help if you use it and use it right.
Right? Because
If you tend to just look at the pictures from MLS and the stuff that goes through email, it's not helping.
so you recently pulled your office under, Tony Manchester's Century 21 The Hills, and she's all over, South Texas, and you're taking I guess, a different role in being a broker associate. What's on the horizon for Charlie Keiser?
Hopefully, I'll get to spend more time with Susie. All that's kind of a two-edged sword, but it's nice to be able to not have to worry day in to day out of what's going on and the ancient problems and trying to mentor all that. Basically semi-retired.
Yeah.
What I
When
do is help Tony to meet a bunch of people in Marble Falls as she prepares to open the office here. But I will not be responsible for direct relation, direct contact with any of the agents. I'll just be referring to.
so you had an office there in Marble Falls, right on 281, and I don't know what the side street was, but it was, right before the river. When did you open that office?
73, I think.
Wow.
Oh no, excuse me, 93.
93? And so that y'all just moved out of that a couple of months ago, right?
Just moved out in October. Unfortunately, the building next to us caught fire and burned to the ground, and we were only 7 feet away from that building.
That
And
that
if we had not put hardy plank on the side of ours 3 years ago, our building would have absolutely gone. But I had the building up for sale, and we closed on the sale the week before all that happened.
yeah.
But it's been interesting getting all the details of what happened to the inventory, what happened to
It's
the
gonna be in
stumbles, all that kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna be different driving through Marble Falls because that's how we go to the ranch and everything, but it's gonna be different driving by and not looking over to the right as I'm going south to see if your, navigator or something is there parked outside the office.
Uh,
That's been a thing that I've done for, almost 20 years. Is Charlie there? Charlie there?
well, we're only a mile and 6 tenths from that location or where we are in Middle Lakes now. So you can come by and see us there.
I need to do that. I really do need to do that. That would be amazing. So, any special trips you're gonna try and take? Or are you just gonna still do some real estate and hang around Texas and
Probably would like to do a cruise because of my declining strength in my legs. I'm on a walker all the time, so going up and downstairs or walking any length of time is not for me anymore.
right.
So I would like to cruise out of Galveston or Fort Lauderdale somewhere and just get on the ship, never get off.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You definitely earned it. So, real estate's got a lot of things that are happening in it today. We've got lawsuits and everything. Any words of wisdom for someone still trying to carry the torch and move forward based on all your years of experience and trying to lead people?
Same thing we just talked about a minute ago. Follow up, consistently communicate,
Follow up, stay on it.
and stay with what's going on in your area.
Yeah, because you've been involved with Texas Realtors for a long time.
Really enjoy my relationship with TAR, and particularly when I was on the nominating committee and got to meet all the folks that were interested in ascension and leadership. We get a lot of fun
A lot of
and
fun.
nice to know them and nice to know I have met them, even though the sessions we had were 20, 25 minutes. At least got to know them before they got to be secretary and treasurer and work their way up to chairman of the board and so forth.
That's awesome. Well, we're gonna try and carry on the torch for you while you take some vacations and enjoy your time.
But
And
I really appreciate the hard work that you do in putting these classes together. And I know they're going to be wonderful for everybody. I'm glad I don't have to take it.
now wait a minute, you made it through, but yeah, no, thank you because, doing some of that training is hard sometimes and trying to find things that people don't necessarily know so that you can keep everybody engaged is not always the easy thing, but if you wanna talk to Charlie about Highland Lakes or the Hill Country or Century 21, we're gonna put his contact information down in the show notes below so that you'll be able to reach him. They still are doing real estate there in the Marble Falls and, Highland Lakes area, so don't forget to give them a call, and we're also gonna put his mortgage company information and who you can contact if you need a mortgage, so or you know somebody in the area that needs a mortgage. Thank you, Charlie, for taking some time and talking with me.
Robbie, it's always a pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed our time with Central Texas Association of Mortgage Brokers as well as the real estate side.
Yep, it has been fun and quite a history. It's fun stories to tell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. We're dropping new episodes every Sunday at noon Central Standard Time. We'd love your support for The Real Tea with Robbie English. By giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, it would really help us out. Be sure and share it with your colleagues and friends, and until next time, we hope you have a profitable and productive week.